Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Dave.
We've got a meeting from the 20th of December to talk about a 2-hour meeting. We'll get to that in just a second, but there was a work session ahead of that, and it relates to nonprofit assistance. Take us back to this issue and tell us what came out of that meeting.
Yeah, we're just kind of wrapping up this issue towards the end of the year here. We had been looking at some contributions to nonprofits, assistance to them given the COVID situation. Our CARES funds and then our ARPA dollars did allow us to make some contributions to nonprofits that had suffered either losses due to the pandemic or were providing COVID-related services. So this was kind of wrapping up that discussion. We brought back a review of the financials for the Maple Grove Arts Center and then as well as the Maple Grove Lions Club. Council direction was to kind of hold. We'd already given the Maple Grove Arts Center $2,500, and so the council direction was kind of to hold with that donation there. And then they did direct us to provide some additional assistance to the Lions Club in support of the concert, and that would come from our charitable gambling funds actually, because it was a community festival. So that discussion kind of wraps up now to get that one in the books, and we're going to be moving forward in 2022. Potentially looking at some policy issues related to contributions to nonprofits and those kinds of things.
All right, more to come on that, and we'll talk about an upcoming work session later on in the program as well. Now to the meeting on the 20th, again about 2 hours. One item took about an hour of time. We'll get to that in a second, but four items actually pulled from consent. The first was the Citizens Advisory Committee. Tell us a little bit about the history of this group. It's been quite some time since 1975, I understand, but things have changed.
Yeah, so the Citizens Advisory Committee, and previously known as CLIC, the Citizens Long Range Improvement Committee, has been a group of folks that serve as from residents that serve to kind of help with various tasks or projects at the city, and have been involved with many things over the years, whether it be the community center, different facilities or projects. And I think we've kind of come to a point in our evolution as a community where the council was interested in kind of looking at maybe more of an ad hoc committee or working group on a project by project basis. So we're actually going to be looking at that going forward here for the community center early in 2022, is getting kind of a working group assigned that would work on, or provide input and feedback on kind of the design elements, space programming, as well as our communications plan associated with the funding sources for that project. So more to come there, but we certainly are appreciative of the number of folks that have served on the CAC over the years, and this was kind of that resolution to close that out, and then we do have recognition for them later in the agenda. Very good.
All right, a couple other items from consent. Donations to the Police Department DARE program. Very nice story here.
Yeah, sad story. So Al Madsen, former Administrator Al Madsen's son, passed away in September, and a number of memorials were made in honor or memory of Scott. And so this was the acknowledgement of those contributions in memory of Scott, and so we'll put those to good use in the DARE program.
Next is accepting a donation from the Northwest area Jaycees, and this went to some great causes as well.
Yes, so some outreach from the Northwest area Jaycees wanting to use some of their charitable gambling dollars to give back to the community. So a couple of pieces of equipment for police, fire, and Parks and Rec were selected here, and that was a contribution from the Jaycees, so we're really grateful for that effort.
Third item under consent was the general fund budget, and something we've talked about many, many times, but now it sneaks into consent, but someone wanted to just make sure people knew it was finished.
Yeah, so we did hold our budget hearing on December 6th. That was our Truth in Taxation hearing, and at that meeting, Finance Director Greg Stika provided a presentation of the budget that is still out there for folks who might want to go take a look at it. December 6th, the council agenda had the full budget, and the December 20th agenda as well, so if you're interested in that. But yeah, with that, then that adopts our general fund budget for the 2022, and we're all completed with that process then.
Congratulations to all involved. Now to the open forum. One resident was up to speak a little bit about theft problems in their area, but it puts the light on a larger item within the city too, and something for residents to think about. Tell us about that item that was brought up.
Yeah, so a resident came in to speak with the council, lived kind of right off of 169 73rd Avenue area down there. They'd been having, some folks in their neighborhood that they were concerned about, and some theft from vehicles kind of a thing. So we'll be following up with him and in that neighborhood. I think we do have a good neighborhood crime watch group down in that area that might be of assistance in that situation, as well as, just encouraging people, if something's happening in their neighborhood, call 911 at the time that it's happening so that we can respond and go out and take a look. But you did mention, the theft from vehicles or the vehicle theft issue, and that remains a concern for us, and especially now as the weather gets colder, people tend to go out, start their vehicle. If it's an older vehicle, you might leave your keys in the ignition, leave it running unlocked, and it's just sort of a crime of opportunity there. So we really want to make sure people are locking things up, taking valuables out of vehicles if they're sitting in the driveway, that kind of thing, because this does remain a big concern for us up here in the Northwest Metro.
Another item, again, we mentioned this earlier about the CAC. This was a moment to say thank you. So tell us about who made the speech and who were thanked.
Yeah, so Michael Patz has been the staff liaison to the CAC for many years, and Christy Barnett has been the council liaison. And so both Christy and Mike were able to thank the members for their years of service, and many of them very long-serving. Lorraine Gresser started in 1974, so that was 47 years of service on the various, different names of that committee as it changed over the years. Leslie Bender for 27 years of service, Bob Joyner, 24 years of service, Don Skoglund, 19, Stephen Moss, 16, and Harry Kennedy, 14 years of service. So a lot of very long-serving members here, and we hope that many of them will continue on kind of in a new fashion here with our ad hoc committees. A couple other members of note that had less than 10 years of service. Ted Lyons was appointed in 2017, Lee Newman appointed in 2017, and Karen Nicholson appointed in 2016, and Stephanie Walvatney was appointed in 2016. So we did provide plaques and then a Maple Grove pen to those folks in appreciation for their service. And we look forward to kind of working with folks in this new format going forward.
Very good. Let's move on to the larger item from the meeting on the 20th, and that was liquor violations. These were compliance checks that happened in October, the 18th, 20th, and 29th, and now the information comes through to the council. And it was a larger number than I think the council expected. Yeah,
we did have 10 liquor compliance check failures on those dates in October. And yes, I think looking back, I think this is the largest number of failures we've ever had. And we did hear, and we've heard this the last time as well, from businesses just struggling with staffing and that kind of a thing. A lot of new staff. But I think, we just really concerned that this is a really key piece to be training your staff, particularly new, maybe younger staff on in terms of making sure they're checking IDs for the sale of alcohol. Our concern remains, we're only there one day. What's happening when we're not there?
Sure.
And the state makes it really quite easy in that the ID, if you're under 21, is vertical in orientation, not horizontal. It says under 21 in red there, and what we often see is that the undercover decoy will provide that under 21 ID. It's looked at and provided back, and then they complete the sale. So we really need folks to pay attention to this. I think a lot of these folks, were regretting the fact that this had occurred in their business, and so the council did look at all of these liquor license compliance check failures, and our code, at a minimum, it's a 2-day suspension and a $2,000 fine. And one business owner did ask, to maybe review kind of our compliance training and what kind of information and materials we're providing, and so we're going to do some follow-up on that. Okay. We do provide a pretty robust training program for employees of these businesses, and that's free to them, but we'll take a look and see if there's something we can increase or change in any way to make this easier for folks to be successful in terms of making sure that folks are carded when they're coming in for a sale of alcohol.
Very good. Next ahead, we have community and economic development items. A couple items to touch on here. One is the TriCare senior housing. We've talked about this a few times. Give us a little refresher on what it is and where did this move?
Yeah, so this, you might have seen this before the council in recent meetings, more talking on the funding side. They're going to be seeking some bonding from the state because this is a senior affordable apartment project, which is something we've identified as a need in the community for sure. So this is TriCare senior housing, and it's being proposed by MWF Properties. This is up north, kind of north of the BioLife, back behind Menards area, so up and kind of just south of where that 610 extension will come through. We're seeing a lot of interest and activity up in that area, so this is yet another. So this is 152 units of affordable senior housing, and that'll be a nice addition to the community. This was just concept stage, so really just kind of looking at the use of the land, the access points, and kind of how the building is situated on the site. So this one did gain approval, and so we'll see that come forward for development stage with a little bit more detail about the road configurations, how things would set up out there, because there's a number of lots out there that would be available for development.
Very good. One other item in this area was the Planning Commission coming up with a meeting on the 10th of January. What's on their agenda for that meeting?
Yeah, January 10th, our Planning Commission will meet again. We do have a request for a variance on a residential lot, and then we have the PUD concept plan for the pet suites, and that's right up off of Upland. You might have seen that one come through. This was a piece of remnant land that the city owned that we transacted to a private party, and this was the kind of the winning bidder here, pet suites. So kind of a pet boarding service, and we see a few new of these around the metro area, this Pet Suites company.
All right, let's move ahead to engineering and public works. A few things happening here. One, looking back, I-94 near completion.
Yep.
But looking ahead to projects for next year. Tell us about Ken's update.
Yeah, so they've continued to try to get a lot of that median cable work in. Some of that was removed during the construction, and so, or being added in new areas as well. So you might still see some of that work happening here. It gets a little bit more challenging as we get into the snowy part of the year. But we're also then looking forward to next year's capital improvement projects, our street maintenance program. We have a lot of developments that have been approved throughout the year that public improvements need to be constructed for. So it's going to be a busy year for engineering. And one aspect of the 94 project that folks are probably noticing very visible is the noise walls. And they've got the southern part along Rice Lake completed, and they're working on that north part. And I think they look quite nice. The branding that's on there for Maple Grove and the stone, kind of concrete forms, I think turned out quite well. So folks are noticing those noise walls, and hopefully they'll get that north end of Rice Lake finished up here in the next maybe month or two. Very
nice. A lot of work out in that area. A few administrative items from the meeting on the 20th. A quick mention about city offices, a little bit of a different schedule here coming up with the holidays.
Yeah, so the New Year's Day holiday falls on a Saturday, much like with Christmas did, and so our city offices will be closed on Friday, December 31st.
And next meeting is on the 3rd, and that usually is a rather short meeting.
Yeah, it's kind of a meeting where we do our organizational business for the year, so kind of a short agenda, and we don't really have, because Planning Commission is now not meeting till January 10th, we won't have any development projects coming through that night either.
Council gets a little breather, but work session's coming up, and the next one is on the 18th, I understand, and that has some things related to the community center and also Historical Society. Tell us about that, a little preview.
Yeah, so we'll gather before the January 18th meeting, and just of note, that shifts to the Tuesday that week because of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So we are scheduling some time ahead of the regular meeting to have a joint session with the Park Board and the City Council, kind of going back and looking at that community center planning again, as well as a little bit more information on our communications plan there. We're planning to roll that out here later in January. And so one more chance to visit with the council and the park board before we really kind of get that information out to the community. And then you might recall the council had an opportunity to review the report from the CAC about the historical societies. We looked at a number of different historical societies around the metro area. And so this is the opportunity for the Historical Society to come in, meet with the council, kind of talk about the report, and listen to kind of their plans going forward. So probably starting around 5:30 that night. We've got a lot of items to cover on the 18th. And then on February 12th, we will have our council staff planning session. This is a Saturday. We gather in the EOC at the Government Center and spend most of the day, starting around 8:30 in the morning, wrapping up around 3:30. It's an opportunity for all of our directors to present information to the council about the various challenges and opportunities they see coming in the next, really 3 to 5 years, and develop some goals out of that, things that we should be focusing on in that time frame to address so that we are prepared for the future. So February 12th for that planning session.
All right, to end up the meeting on the 20th, we hop out of council, jump into EDA and the HRA, and they had a few big items to touch on. This gets them in shape for next year.
Yeah, so we approved the budgets for Woodland Mounds and our scattered site housing program, our kind of two different housing assets that the city owns. At Woodland Mounds, most of the units are not income qualified, so there we're doing a 2% increase in the rents. Those that are income qualified, there's no increase. And then on the scattered site, those are all affordable housing units, and so no increase to the rents there. And then approved the EDA budget, and so this has been consistent over many years of $150,000 on that HRA EDA levy, and then that goes to help support our various housing programs.
Very good. All right, that was the meeting, both of them from that 20th, and now let's look ahead to some other things happening around the city, and one is transit related to the holidays. Just a quick reminder for people around New Year's, what is the schedule with the transit services?
Yeah, so planning a regular day of service on New Year's Eve, December 31st, and if you have questions about kind of what buses we're running right now, check the city's website because it is different than it has been in the past, and so if you're interested in taking the bus downtown, check out the website.
And as we record this on the 27th, we still have lots of holiday displays up. Where can people go to see some of this excitement? Yeah,
so we still have a lot of the decorations up and down Main Street throughout the retail areas of the Arbor Lakes and the shops. So we encourage people to get out. They include murals, window displays, and other seasonal decor. Lots of fun spots for photos and that kind of a thing. And then a map is posted on the Arbor Lakes Business Association website and Facebook page. So we encourage people to get out and take a look at that.
Big thank you goes out to residents of the city of Maple Grove for helping out with the toy drive. Who benefited and how did it turn out?
Yeah, so this year we partnered with Cross for a toy drive. Gifts and gift cards were collected over a 3-week period at the Government Center and the Community Center, and we were able to provide 2 4x4 pallets of items to help children celebrate the season. And it was nice to partner with Cross this year. I think those gifts kind of stay close by here in our community, with Cross serving kind of up here in the Northwest area. And then just a big shout out to Todd Striggy and our police department for coordinating this effort with Cross over the past few weeks.
Thanks to all those who donated. End of the year means some recognitions for staff, a few retirements happening, and a unique appointment to talk about. Tell us about those 3.
Yeah, so some very long-serving employees, a lot of experience and knowledge walking out the door. Ron Nagy with 25 years of service in the police department. I think they tallied it up. He was a field training officer, and he trained about 67 new officers over his career. So grateful for his service to our community and for the contribution he made to the future of law enforcement. And then Jan Clark, 40 years with the Parks and Recreation Department, supporting that department. So we celebrated Jan on December 20th, and I think she's looking forward to her retirement. But yes, lots of knowledge and experience walking out the door that we'll be replacing in the coming weeks. And then just a note about a significant appointment. Our Maple Grove Deputy Fire Chief and Brooklyn Center paid-on-call Assistant Fire Chief Chris Kummer has been appointed by Governor Walz to serve on the Minnesota Board of Firefighter Training and Education. Chris will serve a 2-year term as the representative for the Minnesota State Fire Department Association. So the Board of Firefighter Training and Education supports firefighter training and education and works to fund standardized training and through licensing of the firefighters in Minnesota. So another thing for Chris's schedule here, but grateful to have his service to the state here.
Very good. Congratulations to all 3. Let's move ahead to something happening at the beginning of the year, and we've talked about this quite a bit, organics recycling. What do residents need to know?
Yeah, so this is in compliance with the Hennepin County has implemented a requirement that all communities in Hennepin County offer organics recycling. We took a bit of a different path here in that we changed our licensing for our garbage haulers to require that they offer that to our residents. Some communities are kind of developing their own program program, but you should be reaching out to your garbage hauler to see what kind of program they're offering. Some haulers use kind of a blue bag program that gets incorporated into your regular garbage. Some have kind of a separate bin. So that is a service that is required to be offered in January of 2022. If you have any issues, reaching your hauler about that issue, you can give a call up to our engineering department and we can help with that. But you should be getting that information from your hauler about now.
Another new item for 2022, and this is the Stormwater Utility Fee. And again, we've talked about this quite a bit during the last month or two. Again, remind residents what this is and why it's so important.
Yeah, so this was a new utility that we created starting here in 2022. So kind of part of the budget process was to consider this implementation. It's something that we've been talking about and thinking about for a number of years. We're kind of at that point in our growth and development where we have a need, an increasing need to be managing our stormwater system. So that includes dredging of ponds, replacement of infrastructure, that kind of a thing. So previously we've been doing that kind of on a as needed or reactive basis, and now there's a need to get more proactive about this work and make sure that our stormwater system really serves the community well. So we did implement this stormwater fee. It is implemented it's a $5.50 per month charge on residential homes, and then on the commercial side, kind of depends on the lot and impervious surface and that kind of a thing. So if you have questions, you can call the call-in line at 494-6355. And we'll respond to questions. It's a message, and then someone will call you back and have a discussion about whatever it is there. So we were kind of probably one of the only suburbs in the metro area that had yet to implement a stormwater fee, and so as our costs continue to increase with that work that needs to be done to maintain the system, it's time in our progress here to add that fee. So residents will start seeing that on utility bills here going forward in January.
Okay, let's move to Park and Rec. A couple things happening there as the seasons change here. The first is the activity guide is underway, and it's now time to sign up for programs.
Yeah, so there's over 375 activity classes and programs available for all ages in the booklet, and I've heard that registration has been very strong. I think people are looking to get back out there. It can be found on the city's website. You should have received that in your home as well. We also have a lot of skating, and just this morning we had the snow and then rain on top of the snow, which isn't great for the ice rinks, but the Central Park Skate Loop is open for the skating season. Skating is free, of course, but skate rentals are available for $7, and there's concessions there as well. We're getting a lot of coverage with the Fox 9 weather camera out there, so it's been very busy. So if you go there, know that it might be pretty crowded and busy there at the rink. And then on the outdoor rinks, I think just follow social media, check the city's website. This weather, and then of course it was warm this morning. It was like 34 degrees, so that really kind of wreaks havoc on our outdoor rinks. So we just encourage people to check the schedule, even for the Central Park skating loop, because this kind of weather can mess with that as well. So before you head out to skate.
Very good. If you want to get away from that crazy weather, how about go inside the Sports Dome? This is a great place to do some walking.
Yeah, so the walking track is available Monday through Friday mornings from 7:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the morning, and then Tuesday and Friday nights from 5:30 to 9 p.m. and then Saturday is kind of all day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So that's a great place to get in from the elements and go for a walk or a run. You bet.
A couple final notes to pass along. We mentioned New Year's Eve a couple times and New Year's Day. Let's talk about something happening at the community center. Just a great place to go and hang out.
Yeah, so the Maple Grove Community Center has a special offer to ring in 2022. From noon to 6 p.m. on December 31 and January 1, the all-building admission rate is $25 per family or $5 for single admission. So it's a discounted rate. So all includes access to the pool, indoor playground, gym, ice skating. The only issue is there's no ice skating available on December 31st, but it will be available on January 1st.
Okay, and final note, Farmers Market. Let's wrap up the year on the market and and look ahead to next year already.
Yes, we held our last market on December 21st, just before the Christmas holiday. And so now we look to the spring again here, and they'll start some indoor markets again in March of 2022. So just keep an eye on the Farmers Market Facebook page or website for those dates coming up in March.
All right, MapleGroveFarmersMarket.com, that website to find out more information. Well, Heidi, thanks so much for the information today.
You're welcome.
Let's leave folks with some information that we passed along earlier, and also that website right in the middle of the screen. Again, a lot of important information about things happening in the city right there and events coming up, maplegrovemn.gov. Next council meeting, Monday, January 3rd. Shorter meeting, it'll be at 7:30, and work sessions coming up at the meeting on the 18th. Phone number, as always, at the bottom of the screen. Questions or comments, certainly call the city. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.